5 underpaid NBA players of the 2016-2017 season. My name is Josh, or Envyerz. All 5 players on this list are under a 2 to 4 year contract, and no rookie contracts or expiring contracts are on it as well. So sorry guys on the thumbnail, but let's get started first with Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. Last year, Isaiah Thomas had a career year with the Boston Celtics, playing a full season with them, averaging 22.2 points per game, 6.2 assists, and a few rebounds here and there, along with a steal per game. This man is 5'9", was drafted 60th overall in the 2011 draft, and he's doing all of this just a few years later? That's absolutely crazy to me. If you just look at stats alone, Isaiah Thomas is a flat-out scorer. He could put up points instantly like that. Most people wouldn't even consider this man a top 5 point guard in the league. Some may argue he's a top 10 point guard in the league. If you talk to Boston fans, they guarantee you he's a top 10 point guard in the league. Just looking at stats alone and his ability to carry this Boston Celtics team as a unit last year was pretty amazing. And you have the Phoenix Suns to thank for all of this, for Isaiah Thomas's amazing contract on the Boston Celtics. They signed him to a 4-year deal back in 2014, traded him before the season even ended, and he's been thriving with the Boston Celtics. And if he continues the level of play that he's been playing on, this man is due for a pretty big contract in the near future, whether it's with the Boston Celtics or any other team that decides to throw him even more money that the Celtics are willing to offer. He has 2 years left on his contract. He's getting paid $6 million per year, with $12 million of that money is guaranteed. And if you take a look at some of the point guards above him, we got guys like Brandon Knight, Ricky Rubio, Rajon Rondo, and Tony Parker, all getting paid more than Isaiah Thomas. And at this point in his career, Isaiah Thomas, in my opinion, deserves more money than all of those said players. So in 2 years, it's really going to be interesting to see if the Boston Celtics decide to pay him max money or if another team decides to pay him max money. So Isaiah Thomas, one of the most underpaid players in this league. And sticking with the Boston Celtics theme, let's go on to another player in Boston, Jay Crowder. We talked about him earlier in the underrated players of the league. Now we're talking about him in the one of the most underpaid players in this league. Last year, he averaged 14.2 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, a few assists, a few steals. He was the complete package for the Boston Celtics team, and he was the prized possession from the Rajon Rondo trade that has seemed to pan out for them. He's a solid 3-and-D type player for the Boston Celtics, and it's going to be interesting moving forward to see if Jaylen Brown kind of takes that starting spot away from him. I mean, mind you, Jay Crowder, he could start. He'd be coming off the bench as a 6th man. I feel like he's a perfect role player for that said Boston Celtics team. But whatever they decide to do with Jay Crowder, this man is on an amazing deal. He's under a 4-year contract. Now those 4 years, he's getting paid $6 million plus per year with $28 million guaranteed. That's an amazing contract. I mean, for a guy like Jay Crowder, there's other players worse than Jay Crowder getting paid more than him. I mean, the Boston Celtics did an amazing job signing him to that 4-year contract before the CBA has risen, because guys less than him, like I said, are getting paid more, way more. Guys like Solomon Hill, for example, Gerald Henderson, and even former teammate Evan Turner. NBA GMs probably think this is one of the most amazing contracts in the league currently. He's definitely outperforming what he's currently signed on, so in the future, maybe we'll see Jay Crowder sign for a little bit more, since everyone seems to be getting paid for averaging like 4 points per game. So we'll see. The next underpaid player on this list is Marcus Morris out of the Detroit Pistons. Detroit versus everybody. Last year, Marcus Morris had an amazing year. Played some of the most minutes, but averaged 14.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, with a few other stats here and there. Compare it to his brother Markieff Morris's stat line, who kind of had turmoil with the Phoenix Suns last year, wanted to get traded, got traded, ended up with the Wizards, and still kind of had a rough ending to last season. If you compare it, it makes you really say wow, because coming into the league, Markieff Morris was the better twin. He was the guy putting up better numbers than Marcus Morris, and there's been jokes on the internet, oh yeah, Markieff Morris, the better twin, and that's how you could tell them apart. But now it looks like Marcus Morris finally has the opportunity to show that, hey, I'm just as good, if not better, than my brother, and he's showing it. Marcus Morris is under a 3-year contract, and he's getting paid $4 to $5+ million per year. That's absolutely crazy to me. That's just as bad, if not a little bit worse, than Jay Crowder's contract. And by worse, I mean a whole lot better, since we're talking about money and cap situation here, because the Pistons were able to get him from the Phoenix Suns via trade, and he was able to actually be productive and be a key role in that starting lineup last season with the Pistons. That's absolutely crazy. He's getting paid less than guys like Nick Young, Garrett Temple, Aaron Aflalo, and guys like Marvin Williams, who essentially do what he does, not to mention his brother as well. The Pistons found a gem with Marcus Morris, and like all players on this list, it's going to be interesting to see if the team is able to re-sign them, because the CBA has risen. Very minor role players are getting paid 10+ million per year, and guys like Marcus Morris, who's a key component to the Detroit Pistons starting lineup, he's getting paid $4 to $5 million per year. So we'll see what happens. Detroit versus everybody. But next up, we got the man who was robbed of the Sixth Man of the Year award last season and now is injured this season, Will Barton. Last season, he was able to average 14.4 points per game, averaged 5.8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and a few other stats here and there. But most importantly, he was able to do all of that coming off the bench for the entire 82 games. He only started one game last season. Only one game out of the 82 games. I don't know how this man didn't win Sixth Man of the Year last season over Jamal Crawford. But hey, now unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be winning that Sixth Man of the Year award this year, because now he started the 6 games that he currently has played, but the injuries keep following him. But nonetheless, even with injuries, he's still deserving of the contract, and he puts up more with his team than his contract is actually worth. He's on a 2-year deal, and in those 2 years, he's getting $3+ million per year with $7 million guaranteed. That's an insane deal. That's an insane deal for the Denver Nuggets, especially with all the youth they got going on. So it's a very cheap option for the Nuggets, and a very reliable option as well when healthy. The Nuggets just are a weird team altogether, though, because if one player is hurt, then another player is healthy and having a good season. You know, Wilson Chandler finally not hurt, putting up a career year so far, and now unfortunately Will Barton gets hurt. So the Nuggets just can't seem to get a full healthy team. If they were able to get a full healthy team and guys like Will Barton back, maybe they could sneak into the playoffs. I wouldn't mind seeing that. A few examples of guys getting paid more than him are guys like Corey Brewer, who's getting paid $7 million plus per year, which is absolutely crazy considering he's fallen off the face of the planet. Mike Dunleavy and Cal Singler. Will Barton kind of outperforms all of those said players in my opinion, and in those 2 years, once that contract's up, some teams are most likely going to try to overpay for him. I don't know if he's the future with the Denver Nuggets, considering they got a lot of young talent now, but some teams definitely going to want him. Last but not least, CJ Miles of the Indiana Pacers, who's currently under a 2-year deal with $4+ million per year and $4 million of that money guaranteed. Last season, CJ Miles was able to average 11.8 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, and a few other stats here and there in 22+ minutes with the Indiana Pacers. Last season, he was a big part of the Indiana's push, and this season, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a huge factor as well with the Indiana Pacers. Early on, people were calling him a possible Sixth Man of the Year. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, considering the injuries and the amount of games that he'll probably be starting in the near future, but nonetheless, he's a very big part of the Indiana Pacers' success for a guy who could complement Paul George coming off the bench or even in that starting rotation. A lot of the older guys currently in the NBA are actually getting paid a lot more than him for not doing as much productivity as him. I'm not sure if it's just because, you know, they're close to retirement, so why not just give him a big paycheck? Guys like Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, and Jared Dudley. I feel like CJ Miles does a whole lot more for his team, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like he's underpaid, because like all the players on this list, I feel like they produce more than they're actually getting paid. Mind you, all of these guys are making millions, but just to try to average it out with some of the top guys in the league, they're definitely getting underpaid. So with that said, that's my top 5 players of 2016 and the 2017 season who are underpaid. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and check out some of my other work, along with subscribing to my channel if you really do enjoy the content. And if you really want to support my Patreon so I can continue to make artistic stylized videos like this. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.